Hello friends, welcome back. So in this session we will learn transaction in JDBC. So what is transaction? A transaction is set of database operation that has to be executed all or nothing. Or we can say that a transaction is nothing but the process of performing multiple database operations as atomic unit with all nothing criteria. In very simple word, we can say that a transaction is the set of operations, set of database operation that all operations should be executed successfully or none of them should be executed. Either it should be executed all or none of them should not be executed. If we say if we have a three database operations, three statements that affecting database database records. So if we are executing those three statements as a transaction, then we must ensure that the three statements should executed successfully, or either none of the statement should be executed. Either should executed three statement. It should not be like that. One statement is executed successfully and changes is effected into database, and remaining two statements are not executed. It should not be like that. That will not be considered as a transaction. Transaction is nothing but a set of database operations that should be executed all at, or they should not be executed any of them. Otherwise, no, any of them should not be executed. Either they should executed all. So that is nothing but an atomic unit. Atomic unit with all nothing criteria means all should be executed or nothing should be executed. So that is a transaction. When all the database operation in the database operation in the unit are successfully completed, then only transaction should be committed. If all the operations, all the statements, or all the queries of data, all the queries should be executed successfully, then only transaction should be committed. If any of the operation is failed, then we should roll back the transaction. So when any of the database operation failed in the unit, then transaction should be rolled back. Rolled back means whatever the database operation you made and that is affected in database, that should be rolled back, that should be undo, you can say like that. Transaction gives the guarantee for ACID property also. What is ACID properties? While implementing transaction in the application, we should give the guarantee for ACID property. ACID means atomicity. A for atomicity, C for consistency, I for isolation, and D stands for durability. So we will discuss this one by one. What is atomicity, what is consistency, what is isolation, and what is durability. But before to learn this one, just keep in mind the definition of transaction. What is transaction? A transaction is a set of database operation. This is a set of database operation that has to be executed either all or nothing. If any database operation failed, we have to roll back all the operations. If 10 database operations are available, and that from that 10, if any three statement is not being executing but remaining is executing successfully, in that case you should not execute that 7 statement also. You should roll back those also. Either that all statements should be executed or none of them should be executed. So this is the definition of a transaction. A transaction is the process of performing multiple operation as atomic unit with all nothing criteria, and transaction should give the guarantee for ACID property also. So what is acid property? Acid property, A stand for atomicity. Atomicity is nothing but the definition of transaction only. Sorry, atomicity is nothing but the definition of transaction, and definition of transaction says a set of database operation as a unit, and all the database operation has to be executed successfully or should not executed at all with all nothing criteria. That is the definition of atomicity. If we consider 100 database operations you have to do in a transaction, after successfully done all the operation, transaction should be committed. When any database operation failed, then transaction is failed and all database operation has to be rolled back. You should not comment any of the changes until all the operations or all the database operations are executed successfully. When only the all database operations from the transactions are executed successfully, then only you should commit the transaction. If any database operation failed, then transaction is failed and all database operation has to be rolled back. So this is the meaning of atomicity. Atomicity is nothing but atomic units only. So, okay, next one is the consistency. What is the meaning of consistency? Consistency means this is the business rule. Consistency is nothing but define the business rule. What is business rule? While implementing the transaction, many rules are enforced in application. Suppose if you take the example of bank, so some rules are there. While opening your account, you must have a minimum balance, or whenever you are withdrawing the amount, there are also some restriction. At least minimum amount, this much you should withdraw. How much amount you can deposit, what is the maximum deposit amount in one transaction. So that all are the rules for your business. So that is called consistency. Define the business rule. Consistency defines the business rule, and application should be consist when any business rule failed. Otherwise you may get some inconsistent result. What does it mean? Suppose you have to transfer some money from your account to your friend's account. So that is a business rule. If your bank balance is a 50,000 and you are transferring 5,000 rupees to your friend's account, and in your friend account you can say 60,000 bank balance is there. So after transferring 5,000 to your friend's account, how much will be remaining in your account? 45,000 will be remaining in your account, and 65,000 will become in your friend's account. So this is a business rule. It should not be like that. It is deducted from your account. 5,000 deducted from your account, and that is not transferred in your friend account. So that is not the business rule. It should that data is not consistent. You can say that the data is not consistent. Either it should be deducted from your account and it should be transferred to your friend account also, but it is not transferring to your friend account, but it is deducted from your account. So that is not a business rule, and that is not making the data consistent also. So that is the problem, data inconsistency. Application should be consistent when any business rule is failed, otherwise you may get some inconsistent result. So this is data consistency, means you have to implement the business rule. Okay, and suppose here we have taken the same example. Consider the amount withdraw operation. Then some business rules are there. Suppose while withdrawing the amount, some rules are there for bank. Suppose in your bank at least 1,000 rupees should be there. This is the minimum balance. Minimum balance should be there. If you are withdrawing through ATM, then only 5 withdrawal per day are possible. So I'm not saying that this is the actual restriction or actual rule for the ATM, but just we are taking as an example. any bank, you can say ABC something. We are taking just an example. Suppose if you are withdrawing from the ATM, then we can say you have to give only five withdrawal or five chances to withdraw from the ATM, five for per day. So this is the one rule. Or you can say that limit is also there. Suppose you can withdraw hardly 5,000 or 10,000 maximum amount you can withdraw. This is the limit to withdraw through ATM. Through ATM, if you are trying to withdraw, so this is the minimum amount. At what time? At one time you can withdraw 5,000 or 10,000 only, and in day you can withdraw 5,000 five times. Sorry. So this is the one business rule. If you are withdrawing from the branch, then you can say only 10 times you can withdraw per day. Per day, at most you can withdraw 10 times, and the limitation like that, you can say 5 lakh or 10 lakh, it is maximum amount that you can withdraw. So that is nothing but the business rule, and that business rule should make data consistent. If any business rule is failing, then that may give the data inconsistency problem. So that is called consistency. Atomicity is nothing but the definition of transaction, and consistency is that defines the rules or business rule. Okay, the third one, okay, so yeah, that's fine. So when you are implementing the transaction, you can implement code for business inside transaction. When all the business rule operations are successfully done, then only transaction should be committed. If any of the rule is failing, then you have to roll back your transaction. So that is consistency. So that is consistency. Next one is isolation. What is the meaning of isolation? Isolation, from the dictionary perspective, if you see the definition of isolation, then we can say it is a separated or it is independent. What is independent? Transaction should be independent, or that should not be dependent on any other. Suppose independently multiple transaction can be running on the application. That's the chances. Suppose you have a bank account, so you can do multiple operations. You can withdraw money, at the same time you can check the balance also, or you can deposit the amount, so, or you can applying for a loan application. So many operations you can do. So that is a transaction that will be considered one transactions. So isolation means each transaction, multiple transactions can be running on your application, and these concurrent running multiple transactions should not disturb other transaction. Suppose 10 transactions are running in your application, so that 10 transactions should not disturb another transaction. That is also the rule of transaction. So transaction should be isolatedly or independently running. Transaction should run isolatedly or independently without affecting each other. So how transaction can affect? Suppose we will take one example. Consider multiple transactions are using different data. Suppose two transactions are running, but that the two transactions are using different data, so there will not be problem. Suppose we take this example. Suppose a bank named Bank A, Bank A, that is the name of bank. Bank A, that is the name of bank, has a 3 customer, C1, C2 and C3. And C1, what it is doing? Transferring fund using transaction 1. C2 depositing money using transaction 2. And C3 applying for loan EMI withdrawal. So that is performed by transaction 3. So in this case, these are 3 different transactions, and these 3 different user, and they have their own data. So in this case there will not be any problem, because each transaction is isolated and does not have any dependency on each other. or we can say that these three transactions are isolatedly running. They don't have any dependency. They are not dependent on each other. Even the data is also not shared between them, between these transactions. So among these transactions, no data is shared, we can say in simply. Among these transactions, that is performed by C1, C2 or C3, respectively transaction 1, transaction 2 and transaction 3. So they are not sharing any data, no shared data is there. C1 transaction that has its own data, C2 has its own data, and C3 has its own data. In that case, there will no data consistency problem will not be there, because each transaction has its own data. So and that transactions are not dependent on each other, so there will not be problem. But if we take the another example, suppose now consider another scenario where multiple transactions are using same data. In that case, you may get data inconsistency. How? Suppose a bank named bank A, same bank only, bank A has two customers C1 and C2. You can take just two only, you can take three also, no issue. So C1 withdraw money. What it is doing? C1 is withdrawing money, and C2 deposit money into C1 account. Suppose C1 and C2 two customer are there. C1 is withdrawing money. At that same time, C2 is transferring some amount of money into C1 account. In that case, because in C1 and C2, what is the common between them? The amount whatever is available into C1 account number, that is shared. Why? Because suppose if 5,000 if at present in C1 account the amount the bank balance amount is 60,000 and C2 is transferring 5,000, so it will become 65,000. So that value only being shared within these two transactions. So in this case there may be chances of confliction. So what you can do in that case? We have to handle this one somehow. We have to handle. So the above transactions are executing at the same time and using same account number of the customer C1. So in this case, we may get data inconsistency. Sorry, not consistency. Inconsistency means data will not be consistent. So we have already seen what is data inconsistency. So this is a one problem here, and this problem will come only when the data being shared within the transactions, because here if you see, C1 is withdrawing money from his account only and C2 is transferring money to C1 account only. So the data may be shared. You may get data inconsistency or you may not get. That is, we cannot predict at what time it is transaction is exactly executed and what time. If it is a 1 second or 1 nanosecond time is differ only, then only and the transaction also will be executed successfully. We cannot predict that one, but this is a scenario where we may get. So in that case, we have to check always the safer side. So this is a problem that we can get when multiple transactions are using same data. So the above problem coming when multiple transactions running concurrently are called transactional concurrency problem. So what type of problem we are getting here now? We are getting here transactional concurrency problem, and that transactional concurrency problems has a three types. So there are three types of transactional concurrency problem. So what is transactional concurrency problem? When more than one transactions are executing at the same time and they are using a shared data, then there is a chances we may get inconsistent data when all the transactions are executed. So that problem is called data concurrency problem. Transactional concurrency problem. And transactional concurrency problem has a three type. First one is dirty read problem. Dirty read problem. Second one is a repeatable read problem, and third one is phantom read problem. So what is dirty read problem? Suppose when a transaction reads the dirty value means the value that transaction is reading, that is modified but it is not committed. Suppose some transaction is reading some data from the database, and that data, whatever the transaction is reading, that data is modified but it is not committed into database, just it is modified, some mathematical operations or some subtraction, multiplication, division or addition is happened, and the data is just reflected in database but it is not committed. That may be rolled back. If it is rolled back, then the value may be different. So in that case, this problem called dirty read problem. Whatever the value the transaction is reading from the database, the value is modified and the modified value is not committed yet. So that is called dirty read problem. You may get some inconsistent result. To avoid dirty problem, we have to lock the column. So what is the solution is coming here? For dirty read, we have to lock the column. Whatever the column, suppose here if you see from this diagram, this is a transaction 1 and it is selecting an amount of 101. So 101 amount is 25,000 something. So this amount is reading by transaction 1, but transaction 2 has modified this value to 27. In that case, what happened, and it is not saved yet. So that value, whatever is read by 20, that value is transaction, this is the first transaction that is reading this value and saved the value. How much? 25,000 plus 2,000 it is added and that value is updated in database. And another transaction came that is reading the value 27,000. So that 27,000 it is the transaction, the second transaction is reading, that is a dirty value. Why? That is how it is dirty value? Because transaction 1, this is a transaction 1. So this transaction 1 is transaction 1 has modified this value. Before it was 25,000, but transaction 1 came, he modified this value, but still transaction 1 is running on, because transaction 1 is not completed yet and this value is not committed at all. That there is a chances that this transaction may roll back these changes. So in that case, this 27, whatever the second transaction B, the second transaction, whatever the 27,000 is reading, that value is a dirty value. That may be chances that transaction can commit or may transaction can roll back. So that's why this value, whatever is transaction B is reading, that value is modified but it is not committed. So that is called dirty read problem. So to avoid this dirty read problem, what we have to do? We have to lock the cell, this cell, amount cell. For this 25 only, we have to lock this column. If this column is locked, then no other transaction can read until this first transaction is not finishing. So this is the mechanism that we can apply. We can supply this solution. So this solution says that you have to lock this column. Okay, so this is a dirty read problem. Next one is a repeatable read problem. What is repeatable read problem? When a transaction read the same row repeatedly, suppose complete row, now your transaction will read complete row repeatedly and get a different set of values. So this is called repeatable read problem. So here in this one, you see this transaction is reading only single cell, but here transaction is reading complete row, one row, one record, complete record of database your transaction is reading. And if your transaction is reading that value same time, means twice, two time or more times, then your transaction is getting different values. Why? Because other transaction came and committed that one, came and committed. So in that case suppose here if you see, suppose this is a transaction 1, so select the row of 1001. So this row is selected by transaction 1. After that one, another transaction came and second transaction selected the same record and updated the value, email and phone number only, email and phone number. Transaction 2 came and transaction 2 updated the value of email and phone number, and transaction 1 is still going on, and transaction 1 again reading this value. So here transaction 1 is getting, the values are different here, 100 for 100, two time transaction 1 is reading this row, but it is getting different data. Here only this customer ID and customer name is same, but customer email and customer phone number, that is changed because transaction 2 has changed this value. So this is called repeatable read problem. Means your transaction is reading the row of a table repeatedly, and in every repeat your transaction is getting different data for the same row. So this is called repeatable read problem. And to avoid repeatable read problem, we have to lock the row of table. This row, complete row, we can lock. If complete row is locked by some other transaction, in that case you cannot access that at all. And if it is not locked, it means no other transaction is holding. So you may get every time, whenever, if you are reading this value 100 time or 200 time, you will get the same result. So this is called repeatable read problem, and to avoid repeatable read problem, we have to lock the row of table. And the last one is phantom read problem. Phantom read problem is mostly occurred when you are selecting the multiple records, multiple row, not one row. Suppose using some filter criteria, we are filtering, suppose select star from customer where customer address is 123, or where customer city is Bengaluru, or customer city is Mumbai or Delhi or Chandigarh, something like that. We are filtering the record and we are getting some records, 8 record, 100 record or 5000 record. But what we are getting, first time when we are filtering, we are getting 5 record. For example, we are getting 5 record. Next time when we are filtering, we are getting 10 record. How? So this is called phantom read problem. When a transaction read a set of row repeatedly, you may get different set of row in a different read. This kind of problem called phantom read problem. And to avoid phantom read problem, we have to lock entire table. Any transaction, if it is updating the table, first log the entire table and then do the operations and then commit the changes. So after committing, you have released the lock, and after releasing the lock, if another transaction came, then another transaction will read this that table 100 times, then also the transaction will get the same result only. So this is called phantom read problem. It occur when transaction A retrieve a set of row satisfying a given condition. Suppose given condition means where clause, where city is something, where address is something, or where phone number is this, or where policy ID is this, or something like that. So it occur when a transaction retrieve a set of rows satisfying a given condition, and transaction B subsequently insert or update or delete a row such that the new row meets the condition in a transaction A, and transaction B later repeats the conditions, and transaction B now see additional row. So in this row is are referenced as a phantom. Whatever the rows are changed, suppose first time you are getting 5 records, but next time you are getting 8 records, so 3 records, that is called phantom rows, phantom records. So to avoid this one, you have to lock the entire table. To avoid phantom read problem, we have to lock the entire table. Suppose here one call 2 3, this is a one table. We are not giving any specific name, just we are giving as a structure. So call 1, call 2, call 3, call 4, this is a column, and select the table record by some filter, and it is founding 50 records. But meanwhile transaction 2 came and transaction A inserted new records into this table. So now how many records total will be present? 58. And now again it is selecting from the table by some filter with the same, now it is 58 record found. So here you are saying, you can see transaction 1 is founding the different row counts. So this is called phantom read problem, and to avoid the phantom read problem, you have to lock the entire table. So how we will lock the tables? Here we are saying we have to lock the in dirty read problem, we have to lock the cell, or inside repeatable read problem, we are telling we have to lock the row, and in phantom read problem, we have to lock entire table. So how we will lock? So that locking mechanism, to avoid the transactional concurrency problem, we have to apply transactional isolation level. How we can apply the isolation level, we will see that one. But what is isolation level? So in JDBC, these 4 are the isolation level. Transactional read uncommitted, that is a transaction isolation level, means you are allowing to read any data without any lock. There is no lock. So that is called read uncommitted. If the value is not committed, then also you are allowing to read that one. But if you want to say please don't allow to read the value that is not committed, so transactional read committed, this isolation level you have to apply. And these are the integer number for the isolation level. For transactional read uncommitted, integer value 1 is indicating to this isolation level. And this is the transactional concurrency problem, for which transactional concurrency problem we have to apply which isolation level. So transactional read committed, this integer number is 2. For this one, integer number is 2, and this isolation level is applied for dirty read problem. For dirty read problem, we have to apply transactional read committed and lock it. Where the lock will be applied? Lock will be applied on column. Yes, on the you can say that column or cell, one cell only. Okay. Transactional repeatable read, from the name only you can understand this is a repeatable, so it will be applied only on repeatable read problem, and it will lock the row, and the number for this one is 4. Last one is a serializable, transactional serializable, that can be applied for phantom read problem, and the lock will be applied on entire table. And for this one, integer value is 8. So this is called isolation. Isolation means independently. When multiple transactions are running, in that case you may get data inconsistency. How you can get data inconsistency? You can get in this situation only when multiple transactions are accessing the same data you may get. And what type of the transactional concurrency problem you can get? You may get dirty read problem, or repeatable read problem, or phantom read problem. And to avoid these problems, we have to apply the isolation level. And isolation level is nothing but the locking only, means we are applying the lock, simply we can say that only. But in this JDBC, from the JDBC sense, you can say that one, you can say like that, you are applying transactional isolation level also, nothing but you are applying lock. So transactional read uncommitted, so that is a no lock, it is not providing any lock, it is allowing to access any data if it is a committed or if it is not committed, it is allowing, and lock will be applied on nothing, and there will be no lock at all. But if you want to apply lock for dirty read problem, means you want to apply lock for column, or you want to apply the lock for cell, then you have to go with transactional read uncommitted isolation level, and that for that one value, integer value is 2. And if you want to apply the lock for repeatable read problem, then you have to apply transactional repeatable read isolation level, that will be applied on row, on the row of the table, and for this one integer value is 4. And if you want to apply the lock for entire table, or for you want to lock, you want to resolve the issue for phantom read problem, then you have to apply transactional serializable isolation level with integer number 8, and that will be applied on entire lock. So these are the transactional concurrency problem, and this is the solution for that one, how we can resolve that one. And the last one is a durability. As we have already seen here, while implementing transaction, the application, we should give the guarantee for ACID property. So what is ACID property? Atomicity, consistency and isolation. So atomicity, consistency and isolation we have seen. Last one is a durability. What is durability? Durability is nothing but, durability in database is the property that ensure the data, whatever your transactions have saved, it should be available if your system is crashed or if your server is down. It should be available for user. It should not be like that. Suppose you have registered on some social networking site, suppose somewhere, and that social networking site is crashed, that system is crashed, or that is hacked or something, it is down or something like that. After some time, company has resolved that issue and system is up now. So now what you see, you have registered already, but it is saying your registration is not done. It should not be like that. Your data should be present if your system is crashing or destroyed or something happened, but data should be present. You have to make sure that one. That is called a durability. Durability in a database is the property that ensures transactions are saved permanently and do not accidentally disappear or get erased even during database crashes. This is usually achieved by saving all the transaction to non-volatile storage. Non-volatile means once it is stored, it will be stored. You cannot delete that one, you cannot do that one. So that is called non-volatile storage medium. Okay, this property ensures that once the transaction is completed or executed, the updates and modification of the databases are stored and written to disk, and they persist even if system failure occur. If your system is crashed, but that database, whatever you have saved, it should be available always. If you are starting application next time, that should be available. It should not be like that you have to tell to user, please do that registration again or something like that. If you do like that, how it is possible? Suppose in your bank you have deposited 5 lakh rupees, but system crashed, no data is present, and your bank is saying please deposit next time 5,000 and 5 lakh rupees again. How it is possible? So you should not do like that. Durability is ensuring that data should be available, and that you can achieve through backup. You should take regularly backup. Backup means, suppose you are running application and in the mid of night or in the day of middle, whenever you are thinking that time should be feasible, you take the backup every day or in every hour or every minutes, however it is possible, you just take the backup of your database, or you save your database at multiple places also, that is also fine. Or you can use some log also. Using log also you can get, means whenever you are using logging, it will log into the file, so from that one also you can grab the values. So that is the use of durability only. So the transaction also should do that one. So this is the called durability, and this was the definition of transaction. This much big definition is transaction is actually. So if you go, so transaction is nothing but the atomic unit or set of database operation that should be executed at all or should not be executed any of them with all nothing criteria. Okay. And after successfully executing all the method, transaction should be committed. If any of the operation is failed, then transaction has to be rolled back. You should not persist any data if any one operation is failed from that transaction. And transaction give the guarantee for acid property. What is acid property? 4 acid properties are there. A stand for atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. Atomicity is nothing but the definition of a transaction only. Consistency means nothing but the business rule or the data consistency, means you have to enforce the business rule and the data should be consistent also. And the next one is durability. Durability is nothing but the giving the assurity that your data will be present if the system is crashing or failure. So this is called durability, that you have to apply using some backup or a logging mechanism. And this durability and this isolation is nothing but business rule, and that business rule, while implementing business rule, you may get some transactional concurrency problem, and that concurrency problem is 3 types: dirty read problem, repeatable read problem, and phantom read problem, and that you can resolve using transactional isolation level, and 4 transactional isolation level are available. So the next one is the transactional isolation level can be set using set transactional isolation level. So this is very important. How we can set the transactional isolation level? How we can set? So we have already this connection, that connection from driver manager.get connection. We are getting the connection, database connection object we are getting. So on top of that connection only you can apply set transactional isolation, and here you have to pass an integer number of which one? 1, 2, 4, 8. That is representing the isolation level, which one you wanted to apply. And some default suppose, and one more thing, it is not compulsory that it depends on your database what type of isolation level your database is supporting. Not all the databases are supporting all the transactional isolation level. It depends on database, and it is vary on databases. So you have to check whether your database is supporting or not. So how you can check that one? Using database metadata. We have already seen using this database metadata, means from the connection we can get database metadata, and from the database metadata we can use this support transactional isolation level. This method, you can use this method to get whether your database is supporting or not. It will tell true or false. If it is a true, then your database is supporting the particular isolation level. And how you can set the isolation level? Using set transactional isolation level method of connection object. Okay, and how we can start the transaction? The transaction can be started using set auto commit true by set auto commit false. It is also depending on your database. Suppose in our MySQL database, default auto commit is true, but in Oracle or in PostgreSQL databases, I think that default auto commit is false, but in MySQL it is a true. You have to make it false. So it depends on your database, but it is required whenever you are starting the transaction. This is the first step. you have to set auto commit to false. By seeing this one only, you should start your transaction. So how you can start the transaction can be started by set auto commit to false of a connection object. And how the transaction should be ended, how to end the transaction can be ended by calling commit or rollback method of a connection object. In this way, either you have to commit or either you have to roll back. Commit means when all the database operations are successfully done, and rollback when any one database operation is failed to be executed, you have to roll back. You should not do any operation. So this is the meaning of connection.commit and connection.rollback. By saying commit connection.commit, you can end the transaction, or by saying connection.rollback you can end the transaction. Okay, so now let's see one example first, and we will. So here, before to see this example, what we have to do, we have to set up the table. Which table? We have to set up one customer table. Currently in this customer table, no record, and this customer table, if you see, this has some column: customer ID, name, account number, and account balance. How many means rupees balance is there, what is the customer account number, what is the customer name, what is customer ID. So these four columns are there. So currently we have to insert some two records here, then we will see the transactional demo. Okay, so we have to set up the table. So what we are executing, we are inserting these records here, these two records. Shivam Kumar is a customer name, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, this is the account number, and this is the bank balance, and this is the account number and bank balance for Krishan Kumar. So these two records we are inserting into this table first. So I am executing this one, and these two records will be inserted into the customer table. Okay, so now if I go to here and if I run this query again, you will see two records are there. So now what we will do, we will do one transaction. Transaction means, we will do one transaction that transfer the amount 5,000 or 8,000 something from Shivam Kumar to Krishan Kumar, from the customer account 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 2 9 8 7 6 5 5 4 3 2 1. So let's see that example. So from here, if you see what we are doing, we are calling this transfer money. From this main method, we are calling this transfer money. Transfer money is nothing but it is transferring, withdraw account number. From this account, you have to deposit to this account, and what amount? This much amount. So only these three parameter is required here. One is withdrawing account number, and another one is a deposit account number. From which account you have to withdraw, and in which account you have to deposit the amount, and how much amount you have to deposit. So that only. So withdrawing account number is nothing but this is withdrawing account number 1 2 3, and this is the depositing account number, and this is the amount, how much? 8,000 that you have to transfer. Okay, so what we are doing here, first we are getting the connection, and we are taking a prepared statement. First three prepared statements we are taking. Here we are taking three prepared statement. This statement, by this prepared statement, what we are doing, we are checking the minimum balance first. This is a business rule, no? We have to implement business rule also. So we are checking the minimum balance of this one. How much it should be? This should be the minimum balance. Suppose, so this is the query for minimum balance. What is the query? Select account balance from customer where customer account is 1 2 3 something, anything. So it is just returning account balance, and that account balance only we are getting. So this is account balance. If this account balance is greater than and equal to amount plus 1,000, means this is a business rule. In your account, at least 1,000 rupees available, at least. Remaining you can remaining whatever amount is there you can transfer, but at least 1000 is there. So whatever amount you are passing plus 1000, this much amount should be there, then only you can then only we can transfer the amount, otherwise we cannot do. So this is our one business rule. Okay, and after that one, withdraw. We first, what we are doing, we are withdrawing. So withdrawing, if you see the withdraw statement, if you see the withdraw query, so this is our withdraw query. What is this one? Update customer account balance minus some value. First, what we are doing, we are deducting, we are withdrawing, or we are deducting the amount from balance, from the account where account number is something. So this is the query that what we are executing. If your balance is satisfying, then we are setting that one, and this is the amount that we have to transfer. So this much amount we are doing, and after that one, what we are doing, deposit. We are doing the deposit operation. Deposit operation means we are deposit. If you see the deposit query, then deposit update customer set amount plus account balance plus whatever the amount we are giving, that one it is transferring to this account, where customer account, this one. So here we are executing both the queries. See, if you see here, we have executed both the queries. But what is the guarantee whether this statement is executing, this is failed? If it is this executed and this is failed, data is not consistent. It's not consistent. If this is not executed, no problem. But this is executed, the balance is deducted. Balance is deducted from the sender, but in receiver it is not reflected in that database. So it should not be like that. Suppose in this, if it at this line you got some error, some exception came, something. In that case, you should not do this transaction also. No, you have to roll back. So what we are checking here, we are checking both the transactions are done successfully. Yes, then only connection dot commit we are calling. If not, then we are rolling back. It should not be like that. Both transactions should do this operation. Both should be. If it is greater than 0 only, then it will be true, means something is affected in database. So in that case, only we are doing commit or rollback, or else if it is getting any exception, then also we are doing rollback, then also do the rollback. You have to go always with the safer side and close the connection. So this is the implementation for transaction. If I run this one, you will see the execution. Yes. So now what message we are getting, your transaction successfully done. And if you see into database and you refresh this one, you will see, yes, this is deducted, you can see here. And if I run this one more time, again it will be deducted this much amount. Yes. So if I again run this one, you will see, yes. And if I run this time also, it will be deducted. Yes. Now this time 1000 is there, but I am trying to withdraw, I am trying to send 5000. What will happen? It will not be your transaction is failed because minimum balance is less than this one. You cannot do that one. So it will be remain same. It will be not reflected into the another bank also same. So this is the way how we can implement the transaction. Transaction should be started by set auto commit false, and it should be ended by either connection.commit or connection.rollback. Okay, so this is the example of that one that we have seen. The next one is the type of transaction. How many types of transactions are available? Two types of transactions are available. One is local transaction, another one is a distributed transaction. So what is local transaction? Local transaction means, So currently whatever we have seen, that is a local transaction. Distributed transaction means when more than one databases are there. Suppose currently we have involved only one database and the customer is belonging to the same bank. Suppose if you have a SBI account or some account from ABC bank, and your friend also has the bank account in this bank account number in the same only. So in that case, that will be considered as a local transaction. Distributed transaction means that involving more than one databases. That databases will be different, or you can say that the banks are different. So that is called distributed transaction. Local transaction means when a single database is participating in transactional operation called a local transaction. For example, transferring the fund from one account to another account, but the account belongs to the same bank or same database. That is called local transaction. Distributed transaction when more than one databases are participating in transactional operation called distributed transaction. For example, you can say transferring the fund from one account to another account, but account belongs to different bank or different database. So these two types of transactions are there. Next one is a save point. What is meaning of save point? Suppose while doing rollback, all operations are rollbacked. Sometime whatever we want, that even the transaction is failing, but this much operations are performed, that should be saved. So what we can do, we can set some save point. The method connection dot set save point, set a save point object within the current transaction. The connection dot rollback method is overloaded to take a save point argument. The method connection dot release save point take a save point object as a parameter and remove it from the current transaction. When to call method rollback? As mentioned earlier, calling the method rollback terminating the transaction and return any values that were modified to the previous value. If you are trying to execute one or more statements in a transaction, you may get SQL exception. Call the method rollback to the or committed whatever is you updated, you can go for the directly callback for rollback for that whenever you are getting the exception. So this is the when we should call rollback. Suppose if you see this example, here we have inserted some new record into the customer table. Currently, if you see in our customer table, two records are there, only two records are there. But if you see this example, what we are doing here, we have inserted 4 new records. We have executed statement dot execute, we have called here. So 4 new records we have inserted here, and 3 more records also we have inserted. So total 7 records we have inserted, and 7 plus 2 9. So total 9 records are inserted. But what I don't want these 3 records. So what I can do, I can set save point here only, and that save points while I can do rollback, and then I can commit the transaction. This is the use of rollback. Whenever you want, I want to commit the changes from some specific range or after some specific statement only. So what we can do, we can set some save point at that time only. These 4 records we added. After that one, I set some save point. I have saved one save point, and this save point tells that I can roll back till this save point, and these many record will be saved only. This will be discarded if I do a rollback. If I don't do rollback, I directly commit, then it will be committed all. But if there is a chances I can roll back to this point, so at that time I can specify this rollback, this save point here. Okay, so this is the use of save point. So now how many records will be there? 4 plus 2, 6 will be there, not 9, because this 3 I have rolled back there. These three I have rolled back. I rolled back this one. It will not be there. Only this 4 will be there. So if I run this one, you will see. Yes. So if you see into database, if you run, you will see. So now how many total are there? 6 are there. 4 plus 2, 4 we have added, 4 this one is there, and 2 were already there. So total will be 6, and this 3 will be discarded. So this is the use of a roll back. We can do a roll back to the specific point. Okay, and the next one is, this is very small, date and blob data type. What is date and blob data type? Suppose in our database so far, how many types of data we have saved here? If you see, this is a number type, this is a string type, this is a number, this is a double, integer, double, boolean type you can save, boolean, character, number, string, double. So these types you can store, but two other types of data is also available. Data type, date and blob data type. So what is date and blob? To store the file such as text, PDF, image, etc. into database, we can use blob or long blob data type, same as string, number, etc. Suppose in your database column, here we are saving some data. This is a type of boolean, this is a type of int, this is a type of int, this is a type of string. In the same way, you can save file also in your database. So that file you have to save using blob or long blob data type. And date also you can save, date, specified date data type also present in database. So let's have the example for these two. So now just see this example, date and blob. So what we have to do, first we have to create the user table. We have taken one user table. This is a user table. User table that has a user ID, integer type, auto increment, user name, that is a type of string, and user date of birth, that is a date type, and user profile image also is there, that is a long blob type, null. So if so this table first we have to create, and just we are creating this table first, and then I will show you the table column descriptions also. So this is our user table. Now this is our user table. Yes, this is our user table. 4 columns are there, 4 columns. So here if you see user ID, this user ID is a type of int, this is a username, this is a type of varchar string, this is a type of date, user dob, date of birth, this is a profile image, this is a long blob. So now what we have to do, we have to insert some data, into this table, into this user table. So currently there is no data, user ID nothing, name nothing, date of birth nothing, profile image is nothing. So we have to insert the data here first. So how we can do that one? So in this one we can insert. So here this is our insert query, insert into user value 0. Why we are giving this 0? Because this is auto increment. If it is an auto increment, you just give this 0 every time, it will be automatically this ID will be generated 0 1 2 3 4 5 something like that. You don't need to give anything. So that's why we have given this is a 0. And remaining positional parameter, this positional parameter, first positional parameter is for name, username. Second positional parameter for date of birth, and the third positional parameter is for image file. Which image file, that we will see. So here we have created date of birth. Suppose this is our random date of birth we are taking, and this date is another type that is available under java.sql.date from SQL package only. So this date it is taking here, set date. First parameter is a type of string that we are taking here, name Ramnivas. Second one is a date that we are taking here as a date. The last one is input stream. We have already seen input stream and output stream. This input stream is a file stream. File is this profile image. Which one is that profile image? This one is that profile image. This one is that profile image. This one. Okay. So so this one we have to save into our database. So what we are setting, this position parameter, this value we are setting, input stream itself we have to use set binary stream method only, and we have updated, executed and executed this query. So if I run this one, this record will be inserted into database. Yes, it is inserted. And if I go to database and if I refresh this one, or sorry, if I execute this one, you will see here, if you see, user ID is 1, username is Ramnivas, date of birth is this one, profile image, if you see here, this is a blob. It will not show here because that is an image is saved here. So you have to, while reading this one, you can read this one image by select star that query only. So how you can select that one? You can select that one in this way. This is our select query. Select star from user, where user ID is this one. So this is our query. So this query we have executed here. Set, this is our user ID 1. User ID is 1 only. So we have set this one, and we have executed the one result set also here. And that result set we have iterated because only one record is there. From this record, what we are getting? We are getting these many values here. These many values. Sorry, these many. User ID get long, first index, first column number. We are getting the user ID. From the second index, from the second column, we are getting the username. From the third column we are getting the user date of birth, and the fourth one we are getting binary stream, that is nothing but it is returning an input stream only. And this input stream you can use to save this resource data into some file. Anywhere you can save into some file or network, anywhere. So you can consume wherever you want to consume this input stream, you can consume. We have already seen input stream and output stream. Java input output package we have seen. You can go to that session, you can watch how can you consume this input stream. So after consuming, you can process this image and you can see that one. Okay, so if I run this one, you will see currently currently we are not processing this one, that's why currently we are not using this profile image, this input stream. But if you want to consume, you can consume anywhere. Yes, these one 3 records is there, and this input stream you can consume into some resource. You can write that file and you can see. Okay, so this is all about the transaction and date and blob data type. So with this one only we have finished JDBC course. So in the next session we will start JUnit we will start, and I hope you like this session. Please subscribe my channel and we will see you in the next session. Till that, bye bye and thanks for watching.